Hey everyone, welcome back to The Crafty Couple. Today's video is going to be a ton of fun. We were able to create these 3 flocked trees using all Dollar Tree items, and the cost was only about $15 for all 3 of them. The really neat thing about this is a lot of times when you do Dollar Tree projects, they turn out really small. However, this tallest tree is about 3.5 feet tall. So I hope you guys are excited as I am. Let's jump in and get started. So to start things off, we are going to use 2 of these mini Christmas trees from Dollar Tree. So this is going to be our smallest of the 3 trees, and what we're going to do is kind of stack them on top of each other, and then I'm going to use some zip ties to tie them together. Now there's a few different ways that you can style these trees. If you want to open it up and leave it just as it is, it's very minimalistic, and that can definitely go with a lot of styles. You can also angle the branches up. In this case, what we're going to do today is try and create some more volume, and we're going to kind of angle them down and curved out. The first thing that we want to do though is connect these trees. So what I'm going to do is take this little base off of one of them, leave it on the bottom one though, and then I'm going to slide it down in a little ways there so that they are overlapping, and then we're just going to use a couple zip ties to connect these together, and that's going to work really well. When you get to some of the taller trees that we're doing, you may want to use a few more zip ties just to hold it together a little bit more secure, but I found the 2 on the smaller one works just fine. Once we have those connected, we can trim off the zip ties, and then we can work on forming the tree how we want it to look. So what we're going to start doing is bending all of these limbs down, and then we can actually kind of curl them a little bit as well. So when we bend this down, this is going to create a lot more volume to the tree, and like I said earlier, you could have it angled up, but what we want to do is angle all of these down, creating more of that volume, and then kind of curve them out as well. And that's really all there is to creating our basic Christmas tree form. So after we have the smaller one done, we can move on to our middle tree, and this is where we're going to make it a little bit bigger. So we started with 2 for our smallest one. Our middle one, we're going to use 3 of the Christmas trees, and then we're going to essentially do the same thing. We're going to connect those with the zip ties, and then we want to angle all of those down. As you can see, it gets a little bit longer here. And then for the last one, we're going to make it 1 bigger and add another Christmas tree. So 2, 3, and then the biggest Christmas tree is going to be 4 of these put together. Once we have our trees done, we need to decide what we're going to put these in. So I am going to go with these little metal buckets from Dollar Tree, and there's a few different things you can go with here. The first one is going to be that flowers and garden one, usually in summer. This is the one that you can usually find year round that has the jute twine wrapped around it. I already removed that, and then the other one with the hook. So if you want to use one of those, you definitely can, or you can use something else. Now if you notice, when we stick this in, the bucket is a little bit tall for this lowest row of branches. So what we're going to actually do is cut those off and then use those to fill in some of the other parts on the tree. Because if you look at the tree, it's going to be wider at the bottom, and then it's going to go narrow towards the top. Now the issue that we run into here is when we're connecting trees, it's going to go wide at the bottom, and then it's going to go narrower, and then wide again, and then narrower. So we want to avoid that kind of weird look, and I'm sure you can see it here. What we want to do is keep it a little bit wider at the bottom and then angled up at the top, so that it's either all the same length of branches going all the way up, or it's a little bit wider and then trickle down and get smaller. So what I'm doing here is just showing you some areas that you can fill in with these little branches. So I would try and fill in any areas where you have those zip ties to cover those up, and then again where those little gaps are, because you want to make it look uniform instead of kind of a wave like going from wide to narrow, wide to narrow. It just looks a little bit weird. But this is really awesome because it gives you a lot of extra little pieces that you can kind of add throughout the tree to create volume, and then also to make it more uniform all the way up. All right, and now that our trees are done, this is where it's gonna get fun and messy. So we're gonna start with some of this shaving cream. This is from Dollar Tree. All of these items are actually some of this Elmer's glue and then some of this baking soda. Now, the Elmer's glue, you could use Mod Podge as well. Either of them would work fine. So all I really did here was kind of mix these into a consistency that I liked. You could try and do kind of one part each or measure it out. I like to just kind of see where it goes and how I like the texture. So you're gonna need to use a lot of shaving cream though. I feel like it kind of melts down almost when you're creating this. So you're gonna use more of the shaving cream and the baking soda than you are the glue. The glue just kind of help it stick to the tree and then dry. So get it to kind of a really smooth paste. You want it to be more firm and sticky than shaving cream because the baking soda will really help with that. But what you want to do is to just kind of start, I guess, massaging it into the tree, kind of just rubbing it on those branches. And this is going to be kind of our base coat for the tree. When we were doing this, we tried a few different methods and we found this one to work really well because this mixture is going to create a lot of coverage on those branches so that later on when we're adding kind of our powder effect, we don't need to use quite as much of that and it will stick to this. If you didn't do this, you need a lot more baking soda and some sand that I'll show you here in just a little bit. But there you go. That gives it a really nice kind of coverage here. The only thing that I don't really like is that it looks just wet. It doesn't look to me like snow right now. But what I would do is after you've got it in there, really just kind of dab some heavier parts of that on there. And then when we go in just a little bit, we're going to add some more baking soda and some white sand to make it look a little bit better. So I don't know if you can see right there. It just looks wet and not really like true snow. So we want to add some fluffy kind of dryness to that. Now that we have our first kind of layer of that shaving cream, baking soda, what we're going to do is put a lot of baking soda here into this bowl. And then we're going to add some of this white sand. This is also from Dollar Tree. I really liked the size of it and the texture. It gives the baking powder a little bit heavier of a texture. And then it also has kind of a little shine to it. A lot of times when you look at snow, it is a little wet, so you have some shimmer on it. So I think the combination of both of those together looks really good when we're done here. So I'm just gonna add a really good mixture of both of these, and we're gonna start layering that now on our tree. So this is just a spray adhesive that we had on hand. I know Dollar Tree does have one as well, but I found this to work really well. So if you can find yourself a spray adhesive, that's what I would recommend for this step. So I'm just gonna start by spraying over the kind of shaving cream base that we put on there. And then what we're gonna do is start layering this powder that we have of baking soda and sand. So what we're gonna do is just start sprinkling that on there. Now, what I chose to do is sprinkle quite a bit on here, and if you can get really close to those branches, it's gonna really kind of sit on there heavy. And then don't be afraid, after you've put some of this on, you can spray more adhesive on that same exact part and then put more powder on. What that's gonna do is create more and more layers. If you just did it like this, it does add to it, but if you can spray, maybe do like 2 or 3 coats, I would say, of the adhesive spray and powder, that's really gonna layer it up and give it more of a fluffy kind of snow look. And I think in the end, it looks phenomenal as an artificial flocking. And the last part here is to put our trees into the bucket. So if you have these flowers and garden ones, you can just use some of this acetone to wipe the lettering off. And then after that, we can go ahead and place these in. Now I wanted these to all be kind of uniform, so I did end up pulling these handles off, but I really like the metal, raw metal look that we get out of these. And if you wanted to change it, you could definitely paint these a different color, white, black, red, whatever you like to go with your Christmas decor. I know we all have different decor styles, but this is where you can add some customization to this. And once our buckets are ready to go and our trees, we can add them together to finish this up. So I'm just using some rocks to add weight to the base and then also to hold the trees upright. I would go with the cheapest way. If you can just go out into your yard and find them in nature, that's probably going to be your best bet, but you can always run to the store. And that's really it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. These are absolutely stunning, something that you would find from a high-end store. They're easy to make, they're a lot of fun, and they only cost about $15. Thanks so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Let us know in the comments what you thought. And if you want more Christmas DIYs, make sure to check out our playlist with all the other amazing Christmas videos you can click through right here. Have a wonderful day. And as always, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you can be notified every time we upload a new video.